I'm Kutsia Fortis, Proactive Defense Solutions, and this is part 2 on cyber crimes, and I'm still speaking with Craig Pedersen, TCG Forensics down in Cape Town. Craig, welcome back.
Rian, thanks for engaging, for having me on the show. Good to be here.
Thank you. Tell me, what role does human behavior, we were just talking about this, what role does human behavior and lack of awareness play in making people vulnerable to cybercrime, despite having basic protection like antivirus software, for argument's sake, and two-step verification?
I think it's probably one of the largest factors, Rian. A lot of it is people believe that if they have antivirus software, they're safe. A virus is not the same thing as a scam. It's not the same thing as malware. It's not the same thing as a packet sniffer. These are all different. We've evolved from viruses. They're boring because they're annoying, but they don't make money. Ransomware is far cooler. And a lot of the time, we encounter people and the stock standard answers, I don't understand all this technology stuff. It's like, that's cool. When somebody runs up to me in the road with a panga, I can't really turn around and say, oh, no, stop, I don't understand all this panga stuff. I don't think that's going to work really well for me. You don't have to understand it to a hexadecimal layer level. I mean, we're not asking people to become super geeks. What we are saying is there's a culture of trust. South Africa was really late to the internet revolution. We got mainstream, not even mainstream, but business grade internet access and saw the World Wide Web around the early 1990s. It's been around since the 60s. We were late.
Yeah.
And when we got there, guys like Amazon were pretty much already there. Search, and by the time most people, okay, I am old. So when I first interacted with the internet, there were no search engines. There were no browsers. It was just directory structures. It was great. And it evolved from there to what we have now. South Africa caught up late and didn't go through the learning phases of trust and distrust and how do you ratify things online? How do you verify them? We kind of skipped that process and click, click, ding dong, we jumped right in. Click, click, ding dong, we have become quite accustomed to, I'll buy it online. I'll buy it from Temu or Shane. Okay, that's terrific. Do you know what the right email address for Temu and Shane are?
Well,
Is it
I've never bought from them,
shane.cn?
so I don't know.
Shane.com? Yep.
Yeah.
So people get these glowing referrals from their friends. They go online, they do a quick search, and they find clones of the website, and they get nailed.
Okay.
Their credit card details are actually what the attacker's after, not and the CVV and the expiry, etc. Not selling them a couple of products that doesn't exist. That's just to get them in the door. These guys pop up branded shops all the time, and one of their favorite tricks in Facebook, for example, is we're closing down. After 10 years in business, post-COVID, we can't make it work. And now we have to sell our stock. And people are saying, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can get a bargain. And they're not stopping to think, did this shop ever exist in the first place? And if they just went and looked at the dating of that Facebook page, it's only 3 weeks old. So where's the 10 years of history gone?
Yeah.
It doesn't pass a reasonability test, but it's cognitive bias. We want to believe those opportunities. We want to feel empathy and compassion. And then we want to see maybe there's a bit of a, like, can I help this person or can I help myself with some bargain? 30% off Fabiani shoes. I'll have 4 pairs. You've barely paid it on your credit card, and there's an email. We want to thank you for your support. Here is a 20% voucher to give to some friend of yours to also take part. So you split it off to a mate who also gets scammed. And so it goes on. Because you've now given them a personal referral to go buy from the store. And these guys are kinetic. They bounce their mold. Today, if Eskom, please don't, start their cuck again with load shedding,
Yeah.
tomorrow the scammers are going to be on there. I'm Solar Jack. We
Okay.
have inverter specials. And on Wednesday, if there's a national toilet paper shortage, they will be right back there with bulk stock of toilet paper. I mean, you saw how bad it got during COVID.
Yeah.
But it feeds the psychology of the cognitive bias of we want to believe. And we haven't learned that element of distrust yet. It's the internet, brother. Nobody ever said you should touch it. And that's a quote from Abraham Lincoln in 1982 on his Facebook page. I mean, come on. It's we see it with people online that get scammed via Facebook profile. And then they will
Yes.
repost this photograph of a really cheesy looking stock artist saying, "This is the man that scammed me." It's like, no, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk, we were investing. Elon Musk doesn't have the time to reply to you. And I promise, if Elon needs 10 grand, it's not going to come from you and me. He's okay.
And have you noticed how many Elon Musk Facebook and X and
Yeah.
Instagram and Talk etc. profiles there are? I mean, that's probably
Yep.
one of the most used ones.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, in the online world, being famous is a downside. The downside is people can take your photograph, mix and match, create these profiles, and off they go. The reality is where you do find celebrities that have an online presence, it's not in their own name. They use some arbitrary random name and a photo of a cat, and their friends know who
Yeah.
they are. If they have a public verified profile, you can put money on it. It's managed by an agency. It's PR.
Okay.
And, they'll swap, copy and paste pleasantries with you, but that's where it ends. It's public relations. These are not your friends. They're movie stars, whatever's.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been sending Claudia Schiffer messages for years and she still doesn't phone. I don't understand. But we want to believe that. And
Yeah.
our parents, people in the 60 to 75 kind of age range as well, they come from the era of pen pals, where if a salesman knocked on your door and politely introduced himself and said he was selling or whatever, it would be rude not to entertain him. It would be rude to close the door in his face and listen, zack. Um, you just don't behave that way towards people.
Yes.
But we've moved on from there and we're not talking about real people. We're talking about
Mm.
online interactivity, and you do unfortunately have to distrust it. You have to look for personal recommendations. You have to look
Mm.
at the age, the track record. You have to stop and ask yourself, is this too good to be true?
Mhm. So don't trust anything. That sounds good to me. Don't trust anything.
Yep.
Craig, without mentioning names, could you maybe give us one or two real life examples of that you're aware of everyday people who have been compromised? I mean, I've got one that I can mention, and what could have prevented it, and I can even say what could have prevented it. And if I may, um, this is a friend of mine. Um, it's somebody that she knows on Instagram. This guy talking, these the babes with their
Yep.
profile pics with the boobies and stuff. And I mean, you can. you get a follower like that on Instagram, you pretty much guaranteed it's a hoax.
Yep.
But he got to talking with this babe on inbox, and it progressed to become a bit of a saucy chat, and it ended up with him sending her a photo of his privates, but in this photo you could see his face. And minutes later, he got a message saying, all right, you can, if you don't pay, I can't remember, so many Bitcoins over to us, we're going to send this picture to all of your family. And they've obviously been on his Facebook site. And he then blocked the person. And the next morning, when his family, everybody woke up and they checked their Facebooks, they had this picture of him in their inboxes. So the scammers did exactly what they did. So, I mean, there are lessons there. That's my
Rian,
example.
that is a weekly occurrence. We're what I still consider to be a small practice. We have 2 offices in South Africa. We've got about 30 staff, and we probably field, in terms of inquiries and cases for this kind of thing, anywhere between 50 and 80 a month. And those are just the
Okay.
ones that end up with us. The one you've described now, the dick pic scam, is very common. The other one, of course, is these guys go onto what's known as the red, blue, and purple pages. They find these super hot, ridiculously beautiful escorts that are available.
Okay.
They try to set up a message, a meeting, but the escort's never available. Week or two later, they start getting hit with WhatsApps. Because now, the guy that set up the profile, who believe me is not a hot babe, they know that the guy's doing something he's not supposed to be doing.
Okay.
So they
Yes.
message him. If he didn't get an appointment with that escort, he's going to go have found another one. So now they message him and say, look, I am Constable Koos of the police. I are opening a docket of verkrachting against you, and I'm going to take a
Yeah.
statement from your mother. And the guy quickly says, I must
Okay.
check if this is real. And he goes on to Truecaller and he sees a police badge and some arbitrary oak behind the desk, normally with the wrong rank. It's like, oh, it is the Popo, it must be real. And now he
Yeah.
gets sucked into paying bribe money. So it's not like he can go to a police station and report it anyway. We've had one victim
Yes.
who actually
Yeah.
lost 3.7 million over a period of 3 years with that. And that's not the biggest loss.
Wow.
There's one that's bigger.
Okay.
These guys are really good at perpetuating and drawing that thing out. Um, Another one that's all the rage at the moment, everyone around South Africa is getting hit with this thing, is a WhatsApp message or SMS of, I'm from customs in Bloemfontein or Pofadder. We have
Okay.
received the parcel that you posted to Burma. We've opened it and, Putty, there's a lot of powder in here. We got to talk. I need to transfer you to Constable Koekemoer at the police station. And
Yeah.
then they switch you to another arm of the scam, who are the police and now going to make you pay a fine. Fine, of course. Okay. Now I ask you with tears in my eyes, pick up your phone now and phone your local police station. Let's see how long that takes to happen. I'll wait. We'll probably be into like the third or fourth episode before it gets answered. But this so-called customs official
Yeah.
has the magic button. And I'm like, dude, you can actually put me through to someone at the police station? I don't give a shit what you're accusing me of. Put me through, please. I want to
Yes.
see how this
Now.
works. When you apply a reasonability test, I didn't send a parcel. I didn't receive a parcel. The fact that you have my ID number is irrelevant. Everybody in this country's got my ID number. And if you got an issue, hey, bro, police station's 500 meters down the road from me. I'll meet you there. Let's go down and face to face. in the charge office.
While you're talking about the police, I just remembered something that also happened with me. I had a bike stolen
Scooter.
and a scooter stolen. And X amount of time later, I can't remember how long. I mean, you went to the police and opened a case for the insurance. I got a call from a guy who said he's sergeant, whatever, from
White Bridge.
Boschbok.
Mm.
Is it Boschbok? No. There in Nelspruit, White River area, okay, from a police station there. And they've got my bike, and they've obviously got all the info because he could give me all the info. It's there. They want to transport it to a police station closest to me in Pretoria, and I need to pay, I think, $3,000 for the transport.
Yep.
So I'm like, wait, that's police territory. Why must I pay you money? So I said to him, I think you're a bloody scammer. So I put the phone down. And then I went to the police station. And I said to them, this happened. And when I said it, the guy behind the counter immediately said to me, please don't do that. It's a well-known scam. Please don't do it. So they everywhere. And it's diabolical. And I'm just thinking, Craig, if these guys applied this much genius to engineering and schooling and all this kind of stuff, I mean, just imagine the results in
Well,
terms of progress.
yes, absolutely. But that's why we have the problem. A lot of these guys, as you know, and no, I'm not profiling or blaming anyone in specific, but a lot of them are West African. Now, why is that?
Okay.
Because they grow up in countries, they're bright youngsters, they're educated
Mm.
into technology early on. They have top of the range universities and polytechnics, and they have free access to that. They go there, they
Okay.
learn, they put the time in, they're passionate, they want to, and there's no job unto us. Okay,
Okay.
so I just went to university for the last 3 years for what? Would they scam their own people in their own country in the same way? Absolutely not.
Mm.
Never. But doing
Okay.
it here, these people have got more money, bigger houses, better, they can afford to give me some. And that's where that spiral starts. So they start out with
Okay.
terrific educational backgrounds and great skills, but there is no opportunity. So this becomes the opportunity. And then, of course, you
Sure.
have syndicates where this is their line
Yeah.
of business. It's organized crime,
Yeah.
structured. And of course,
Mm.
the terrorism angle is also a part of that.
In your expert opinion, Craig, what are the three most critical cybersecurity habits everyone should adopt immediately?
Minimum two-factor authentication, nothing less. And I don't mean
Mhm.
just for your phone. I mean for your WhatsApp, for your Facebook, for your Gmail. Ideally, don't use Gmail ever. Um,
Okay.
I'm not a fan. Um, But you have
Mm.
to have two-factor authentication enabled throughout your account sets, number one. Number
Mm.
two, stop giving people your data. Just don't do it. If they don't need it, you don't give it. I don't need to give the pet shop my home address, and I won't. I give them any random address I like.
Yeah.
They don't need it. Um,
Okay.
and most importantly, slow, how do I say it politely? A cunny. Slow the fuck down. Slow down. Don't be in such a
Slow down.
rush. The fact
Mm.
that you are in a rush is what these people are using against you. They're using pressure.
Mm.
The dick pic scam, for example,
Mm.
it's if you don't pay me now, I'm sending it. I'm sending it. I'm putting it on Facebook. You've got an hour. Pay me now. It's like, bro, take that picture of my equipment, put it on Facebook. I dare you.
Mm.
because Mark Zuckerberg will have it off before I do.
Oh, that's true.
The majority of those,
Yeah,
the guy's face is not even in the image. It's like, bro, I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings. They all look pretty much the same. Nobody cares. And when you
exactly.
take the pressure away, it's like, wait, you've got a point. Tell him to footsack.
Yeah.
It's the
So
stop and slow down. That is the third one.
slow down. YouTube, don't censor me, please. That was a very important point to get across. Um, how effective are the tools that, like passwords and the password managers, two-factor authentication, VPNs, and how easy are they to implement for non-tech savvy users?
You know, there's a lot of great tools out there that I do like that are non-technical. They don't require
Mm.
a lot of technical knowledge. Um, I am a very big fan of password managers. So I use a password manager. I have one complicated password to sign into it in the morning, and I couldn't honestly tell you what my other passwords are. I don't know. I've never used them. They're created and set automatically. They change all the time. And I have the same password manager loaded on my cell phone. And on my cell phone, it's three-factor authentication. It's a username, a password, a SMS, and my ugly face to
Okay.
make dead sure. Um, you can get things like a device called a YubiKey, which I think I've left in my car. A YubiKey is a small
Mm.
USB 3 slot. You plug it into your phone, and that is your password. You have no idea what your password is. It's physically
Oh, I see.
encoded on the hardware. If you walk away from your computer and you pull the plug out, all your passwords, all your accounts are logged out. It'll log you back in. So there are tools, there is technology that we can use to make it easier.
Mm.
Because honestly, I struggle to remember what I had for breakfast. Never mind what my password is. Um,
Well, I just don't. I make up every time I log out. I need to create new passwords because I'll create a password. I literally do whatever pops up in my mind at that moment, and it must be as nonsensical
yep,
as possible. I
yep,
make that my password. Next time I log out and I need to log in again, I have to create a new password. It's a
yep.
pain in the butt, but it makes me feel better.
They're cool tools like Dashlane, for example. I like Dashlane purely
Mhm.
because it's also insured. If my passwords are compromised because they have a system
Okay.
failure, I'm entitled to claim from them.
Mm.
You get
Okay.
tools like Proton. I really enjoy the Proton and
Mhm.
Nord suite, Nord VPN,
Mhm.
Proton Mail, Proton Drive rather than a Google Drive, uh, Proton Mail rather than a Gmail. It is that much more secure, and it's off of the beaten path
Okay.
where scammers go for mainstream. You know, they don't go
Mm.
for the less or the more obscure channels. And once you've set it
Okay.
up properly, it's really not a problem because that password manager does all
Okay.
the heavy lifting for you. Um, I definitely have up-to-date antivirus just on my network as a necessity. I
What
also
antivirus would you propose?
comes down to brand. I mean, viruses are diminishing in capacity, but what I look for in a good antivirus product is one,
Mm.
affordability. I live in South Africa, bro. I don't have dollars. I don't want to pay for
Yep.
things in dollars. So there are a couple of good products that are not bank breaking. I like
Mm.
products like Malwarebytes, for example, that combine
Okay.
pattern and heuristic scanning and can ferret out malicious websites and actively guard
Mm.
against the sites. If you're not sure how to pick up malicious sites, things like Malwarebytes are terrific for that. I'm
Okay.
a very big fan of maintenance programs like CCleaner by Piriform. It's a free program.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
clears the cookies and the cache on your machine on a regular basis, clears the temporary files. Is that going to stop something? No, but it's definitely going to reduce the risk of it taking hold.
Okay.
And one thing that people don't learn in South Africa is password control, Poppy. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Your PA cannot log in with your password and username. Get her own.
Yes.
Sharing is not caring. Barney's lying.
Well, that brings me to the question that I want to close with. Uh, um, what would be your checklist for the average person who uses email and social media, mobile banking, and so on to stay secure? Just let's say maybe a 5-point checklist that you would propose and have. I
Okay,
got thinking now.
I'll keep it simple. Firstly,
Okay.
on your cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
as painful as it is, you do need to upgrade. The minute your phone can no longer receive the software update from Android or iOS, you need to move
Mm-hmm.
on or do nothing secure or financial on that device ever again. Because if the
Okay.
software is not up to date, the device becomes vulnerable. Secondly, you have two-factor authentication on everything.
Mm-hmm.
A cell phone, you do not ever let out of your hands unlocked for any reason. Um, Password control, if you're not going to use a password manager, it is that bad that you actually need to update it every 6 months. And no, it can't become Godfrey 2 and then Godfrey 3. There are tools and rainbow tables you can use to force that stuff. Just no.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, it's got to be, have a book on your desk. Take a book,
Mm-hmm.
any book. Randomly open it and say, okay, the first 3 words I use in reverse order plus the page number. That's my password. And in 6 months' time, I'll change that. And I'll flick through and I'll find another page. You don't write passwords down. You need to
Never.
have them sufficiently complicated, but memorized. Um, VPN gives
Lord.
you a layer of privacy, but I wouldn't at this stage of the game in South Africa rely on that. I'd be
Okay.
more concerned with the basics of password control,
Mm-hmm.
authentication layers, and um, staying current. If your simple Windows computer is still running on Windows 10 or anything before
Mm-hmm.
Windows 10, you have a problem. Your data can be accessed. It it is that straightforward.
Craig, that was some really awesome info, and I truly trust that our viewers will find the same value in it that I found, quite frankly. And for the viewers, if you did, please click the like and subscribe button. Help us grow the channel so we can reach ever more people with our messages. Craig, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate your time. Um, and must enjoy the rest of your week and weekend. And hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Rian, it's been terrific. Some great topics, some good insights there, I hope. Really a pleasure
Definitely.
and super to be on the channel. I look forward to seeing the channel growing and growing and people clicking on that like, subscribe, and share that thing. Spread the word.
Thank you so much.